Check, check. Hey, this is Tom Gresham, and it's been a while since I've done a bonus podcast, and thought I'd dig up something out of the archives. Back, some years ago, I was a staff writer. I think they called me a field editor for Guns and Ammo magazine, Peterson's Hunting magazine, the folks at Intermedia. It used to be Intermedia, they were Prime Media, who knows what they're called these days. But at any rate, I wrote a column called Gresham on Guns, and just dug one up and thought, well, we'll see how this works out. It would be interesting to see how it plays after all these years. Now, this is from February of the year 2000, 15 years ago. So keep that in mind as we go through this. I might make a few comments now and then, but we'll just read it. All right, this is from February 2000, Guns and Ammo and Peterson's Hunting magazines. The column was Gresham on Guns. Every kid loves binoculars, and I was no different. From the cheap folding junk to my father's quality war surplus field glasses in a leather case, I just like to see better. That hasn't changed. I rarely go hunting without binoculars, even if it's upland hunting where I'm not looking for game. Why? Just to enjoy the outdoors. To check out that red-tailed hawk or a tree full of bluebirds. Maybe a buck stands up on a far ridge while I follow the pointers. In the duck blind, I love my binoculars to watch those flights that aren't heading my way. It's all about enjoying the moment. For big game hunting, though, binoculars are vital. And I'd just as soon go hunting without my boots as to leave the binocs at home. Which ones I carry depends on the circumstances, just as it does when choosing a rifle. While there have been a host of compact and mini binoculars introduced over the last decade, when I'm going light, I still reach for the grandpa of all compacts, the Bosch & Lomb Custom Compact. Great optics, wide field. But the feature I appreciate most is the long eye relief, so I can see everything while wearing my prescription glasses. While speaking of eyeglasses, a friend called last week and related that his 11-year-old son had lost an eye recently in a freak fishing accident. It was a reminder that we should all wear glasses for all outdoor activities. All right, these columns, I would break them up into several different pieces, so we'll move on. It's just like it was a piece and then a piece and then a piece within a piece. So here we go. What kind of gun would be good to celebrate a special birthday? Last November, my son Ryan turned 21. Ryan has hunted whitetails since he was 12, killed his first elk when he was 14, earned the nickname Longshot at Sidney Wilhite's duck camp when he hammered an outgoing greenhead with a Remington 870 youth shotgun, and he generally likes guns and hunting. So, what to get him to commemorate this special birthday? He already has a nice 12-gauge Ruger Red Label. His left-handed Ruger Model 77 M30-06 has anchored deer and elk. I considered a .22 rifle, and I'm sure that will come. But finally I settled on a great handling Remington Model 1100 Sporting Clays 20-gauge with outstanding wood. The Model 1100, especially the Sporting Clays model, has great balance. The 20-gauge is a wonderful upland bird gun, but the wood was the selling point. By the time you read this, we should have christened the shotgun on quail. Chances are Ryan will still have that shotgun in 20 or 30 years. Hope I'm still there to hunt with him. Well, as it turned out, no, that prediction of Ryan having that shotgun in 20 or 30 years did not work out. Ryan lost all of his guns in Hurricane Katrina. He lived in New Orleans in the Lakeview area. They evacuated, thinking they'd be back in a couple of days, which was a typical routine down there. But of course, Katrina was different. He had 8 to 10 feet of water in his house for weeks, and then it sat for months before anybody could get in. And when he got back to the house, it had a big red X on it. The building was condemned. All the guns had been underwater and in soaked cases for frankly, for months. So they were all ruined. So he started over. So much for the prediction of having that shotgun for 20 or 30 or 40 years. Such is life. We go on. All right, next piece. I don't want no pretty gun. I use a gun as a tool. Yes, sir, me too. I use a gun as a tool and have plenty of plastic stock and ugly shotguns and rifles that will shoot great and bring home the meat. But ask me to pull a gun out to show you, and I know immediately which one will be first. It's the Remington Model 700 Custom Shop, short action, left-handed, mountain rifle style stock in .257 Roberts that stops hunters in their tracks. The swirly, smoky, claro walnut stock turns heads from across the room. Oh, and it's quite the tool, too. From prairie dogs to mule deer, it does the job. In a driving rainstorm, it'll be sitting at home, while the synthetic stainless steel rifles do their thing. But in most weather, that little rifle will be with me. Maybe you've been around long enough to appreciate good wood, which is, by the way, getting harder to find and getting more expensive. Ever try to take photos of your guns? It's not as easy as it looks, not if you want really good photos. Here's what works for me. Do it outside, but not in direct sunlight. A plain background is best. I like a painted, white piece of plywood, but anything like that should work. Buy or borrow a tripod to keep the camera steady and to allow you to get everything set up at your leisure. Make a couple of light reflectors. Just crumple up aluminum foil, then spread it out again. Tape it to big sheets of cardboard. You may want to use pieces of modeling clay under the gun to tilt it toward the camera. Wipe down the gun carefully to remove smudges and fingerprints. If there's a shadow area that is dark, and there usually is, kick light into that area with your reflectors. Why take pictures of your guns? Well, for show, for personal enjoyment, and for insurance. Once you have the studio set up, just keep putting one gun after another down and photographing them. Make double prints of the photos and keep a set in your bank safe deposit box. Write the serial numbers of the guns on the back of the prints. Oh, and check your insurance policy. I bet there's a limitation on it for firearms that will surprise you. You may want to check out the NRA gun insurance policy. It's a good one. Well, that was 15 years ago. So now, of course, we just take our pictures and put them on a thumb drive or store them on the cloud. What you may want to do is shoot a little video of the guns and then talk while you're doing that and talk about this is a Model 700 Remington, this is the serial number, you can read it out loud, I bought it at such and such a place. So now you have a record of it for your insurance purposes. So 15 years, it's a little bit different. You know, one thing that hasn't changed? The NRA gun insurance is still a really good policy. And yes, please check your homeowner's insurance. Chances are there's a limitation, often like $2,000, which for a lot of us is not going to go real far in taking care of the guns. All right, carrying on here. Do you remember when fax machines were new and people would ask for your fax number and you didn't have one? While the fax machine is a necessity for doing business, I have determined that the internet is just as important to anyone who wants to stay informed. Until you are on the internet, you just can't understand what all the fuss is about. Once you're there, you can't believe what's available there. Want to write a letter to the local paper but don't know how to get the facts about gun ownership you need? No problem. Just go to rkba.org, that's for the right to keep and bear arms, to look at the extensive research available, or hop over to nra.org or saf.org, Second Amendment Foundation. A hand-me-down computer that someone is getting rid of will get you on the internet. The president of the Microsoft Gun Club appeared on my radio show GUNTALK last summer, explaining how the club uses email to communicate and even to stop a protest at the shooting range. He said the internet is more important than the invention of the printing press. I think he's dead on. You're either in or you're out. That means being informed. Out means always saying, when did that happen? Your choice. That's kind of fun. 15 years ago saying, hey, the internet's important. You need to get on there. Let me explain to you about email. Can you imagine? All righty. Anything powerful can be misused. One danger of the internet is that anyone can become an expert or can create a mailing list. It's tempting to lend credence to anything in print, but the rumor mongers on the net are nothing more than the busybodies of old, but with a large megaphone. One Texas group, I suspect it's just one guy, fires off emails proclaiming that Senator Bob Smith is a traitor because he has rejoined the Republican Party after a brief flirtation as an independent. Get real. There are only two parties. You and I might not like it, but every dollar and every effort spent on conservative third parties helps elect liberal, gun-grabbing Democrats. Smith should be congratulated, and we should applaud his courage in speaking out for gun owners. But no, a local, vocal bunch of gun owners would rather brand him as a traitor. Smart thinking, guys. That's a great way to get a senator to support gun ownership. There's a bit of the eat your own young mentality in some of the gun rights folks, unable to understand that the goal is not to be right, but rather to win. They continue to use unpersuasive arguments like, well, Hitler picked up the guns, and look what happened there. When it's pointed out that their tactics are not working, they shoot back, but we're right. The truth is that being right doesn't matter in this fight. We can be right and lose, or we can be right and win. The gun owners in Australia were right, too. They were right while the government cut up and melted down their guns. We're going to be right anyway. Now we have to decide if we want to be winners, which means learning to fight smart. That one still holds true. Isn't it interesting that many trends in firearms are started by one unsatisfied shooter? Better hunting bullets because John Nosler wasn't satisfied. More accurate rifles because Kenny Jarrett wasn't satisfied. Long-range cartridges because Roy Weatherby wasn't satisfied. Innovations in shotgun barrels because Stan Baker wasn't satisfied. If you load for several calibers, check out Hornady's lock and load system of changing your dies. Unbelievably slick. Want a deer rifle but can't decide what caliber to go with? Well, many will work, and that's the problem. Okay, no cop-out here. Get the 7mm08 and don't look back. Big enough for any deer, shoots well out to and beyond 300 yards, doesn't beat you up. Don't like recoil? Go with the 243. Yes, it's a great deer round, no matter what the fellows at deer camp say. If you don't own a 20 gauge, you owe it to yourself to get one. I use the 20 for ducks using bismuth shot loads. Just like the old days, when I used a Winchester Model 12 with a shorter stock, in 20 gauge with a polychoke shooting light loads of number 6 lead shot and brought home ducks every time. Man, that's fun. Remember, it's supposed to be fun. If you aren't having as much fun as you used to, change something. Shoot a handgun. Go to a smaller gauge. Restock a gun with great wood. Take a youngster hunting with you, but do something to bring a smile to your face. When the sun peeks over the horizon and the ducks are flying and the woods are awakening, remind yourself just how lucky we are. We live like kings. Don't take it for granted. See ya in the woods. You know, as I read through some of these old pieces that I've written, and even the ones that Dad wrote many, many years ago, it's amazing how much has changed, and at the same time, how much is still the same. If you want to put some life back into your shooting, try something new, a new type of competition, new type of gun. Go buy something new. Go smaller, go lighter, go longer, go shorter, go faster. Do something, but just have fun. And mostly just get out there with somebody else, because when you're shooting with somebody else or you're hunting with somebody else, you're probably going to have a bunch of fun. Okay, quick commercial here. If you do not have your Gun Dealio app yet on your smartphone, what's wrong with you? Really? Why would you want to spend more money than you have to? Gun Dealio saves you money on guns, ammo, optics, all that kind of stuff. Just go to Gun Dealio, that's GUNDEALIO, GunDealio.com, and it'll have the links to the Apple App Store and Google Play for your Android. It's free on your iPhone or on your Android. Gun Dealio. Get it today. Start saving money immediately. Thanks a bunch.